Welcome to this comprehensive tutorial on creating a game using the Lightweight Java Game Library, or LWJGL. In this video, we'll take you through the entire process from setting up your environment to coding your first game mechanics. Before we dive into coding, let's ensure you have everything you need. First, you'll need Java Development Kit, version 8 or higher. If you don't have it already, go to the Oracle website and download it. Next, you'll want to download LWJGL. Go to the official LWJGL website. Navigate to the download section and select the desired version. For this tutorial, we will use LWJGL 3. Follow the prompts to download the complete package. Once you have those installed, create a new project in your favorite IDE. For this video, I will use IntelliJ IDEA, but you can use Eclipse or NetBeans as well. Name your project LWJGL Game and set it up to use Java 8 or higher. Now that we have our project set up, let's configure LWJGL. Extract the downloaded LWJGL package and copy the native jar and resource directories into your project structure. In IntelliJ, navigate to File-Project Structure. Under Libraries, click on the plus icon and import all the jar files from the LWJGL jar folder. Ensure to also add the native folder by clicking on the Native Library Location option. With everything set up, let's write our first piece of code. Open the src directory, create a new package called com.mygame, and add a new Java class called game. This game class includes three principal method stubs: init, loop, and cleanup. Let's focus on the init method first. This will handle the initialization of GLFW, which is responsible for creating windows and managing input. Now let's move on to creating a window in the init method. We need to specify width, height, and other settings for our game's window. Before we can render anything, we need to make OpenGL aware of our context. This is done using gl.createCapabilities. Let's add this in our init method right after we make the context current. Now that our window is set up, let's move on to the game loop. The game loop will keep running until the window is closed. We'll also add some basic rendering logic here. Finally, we should implement the cleanup method. This ensures that GLFW resources are released when the game exits. It's always good practice to clean up after ourselves. Now, let's add a main method to run our game. This will kick off everything we've set up so far. We'll create an instance of the game class and call the run method. After implementing these pieces of code, run your application. If you followed along correctly, you should see a new window pop up with a black background. Congratulations! You've set up your very first LWJGL application. Now that we have a basic LWJGL setup, let's add some interactivity. We'll implement keyboard input handling to close the window when the ESC key is pressed. Add that snippet into the game loop just before the swap buffers call. This will allow us to exit the game whenever the ESC key is pressed. To enhance our game further, let's add a simple rendering of a triangle for some visuals. This will involve setting up a vertex buffer object and using OpenGL to draw it. I know this may seem a bit overwhelming, but the OpenGL pipeline involves preparing vertex data, so ensure that it's done correctly. This newly added code creates the vertex array object and buffer, allowing us to render a triangle. To render this triangle, add the following snippet inside your game loop after clearing the screen. Let's explain what's happening here. The GLDrawArrays function tells OpenGL to draw the triangles we specified. The arguments include the primitive type, starting index, and the number of vertices. Awesome! If you run the program again, you should see a triangle in the middle of your window. You've not only created a game window, but also included interactivity and basic rendering. Next, we're going to add textures to our triangle to make the game visually appealing. First, we need to load an image as a texture. For this, we will use the STB image library that comes with LWJGL. We need to modify our cleanup method to free up the texture memory as well. It's vital to manage memory when using external resources like textures. To load the texture, add a method that utilizes STB_image to read an image file. You may want to have an image file ready in your project directory. Now plug this loading method into the initializing section of your code. Call this method and use the texture in your drawing routine. This is a lot of information, but utilizing textures is a key component in modern game development. Make sure your image path is correctly set and run your game again. You should see your triangle textured. As we start wrapping things up, remember that game development is all about iteration. Play with the rendering techniques, add gameplay mechanics, and explore the LWJGL documentation for advanced features like shaders. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment if you have questions or if there's something specific you'd like me to cover next. Thank you for watching.